What's up, everybody? Today I'll be using this Spider-Man protection deck to take on the Nebula scenario on heroic difficulty, the second to last challenge remaining in my heroic challenge of trying to beat every scenario in the game on heroic difficulty using a different hero. And so we are, 58 scenarios into this challenge, and finally I'm bringing out kind of the starter, core set iconic hero, Spider-Man, who does remain to this day one of the strongest heroes in the game. And so very excited to use him here against Nebula, who is one of the hardest scenarios in the game. Probably, maybe not always considered in the big three with Magneto, Ronin, and Venom Goblin, but she's probably like right behind there with Nebula and Loki, making up sort of that top five. I think are typically considered the most difficult scenarios. So a real, powerhouse versus powerhouse matchup here today that I'm very excited for. I'm playing Spider-Man here in Protection. This is just like a really logical way to play Spider-Man nowadays. Spider-Man might be the best hero in the game to use ready for a fight, letting us flip to alter ego form, use the scientist ability, heal with Aunt May, one of the best identity-specific cards in the game, but then still flip up to hero form to get the draw off of the Spider Sense ability and have our backflips and enhanced Spider Senses live and all that. So Protection, just a perfect fit for Spider-Man. We'll talk about the Nebula scenario here in a bit as well. Obviously, one of the classic ways that we combat difficult scenarios is with stunning and confusing, particularly in like ally leadership recursion. But the thing with Nebula is that we actually kind of want her to activate a lot, especially with Spider-Man in hero form, where we get to draw. Like, activations aren't as bad, but when Nebula activates, she discards the techniques, and we want her to be discarding those from herself. So we don't really want to do a stunning and confusing strategy for this matchup specifically, and you could possibly, argue that for Spider-Man more generally, but, I tend to make these matchups to target the scenario at hand pretty specifically sometimes. So at least from a macro strategy sense, we're not planning to do any stunning and confusing here, so in that case, right, we lose less of the disadvantage that Protection has, which can't do that as well. So we're just essentially playing like all the best Protection cards then. A full suite of allies here, 9 allies, many of which have their own kind of unique wrinkle in this equation. I mean, Patriot is just one of the new staple allies for Protection, getting a tough status every time that we engage a minion, so can easily block, 2 or 3 attacks per game in addition to doing his own attacking. Spider-Bite, very often going to cost 0 here. Spider-Man's got a handful of his own techs. We're playing 3 Energy Barrier. Daredevil is just one of the best thwarting allies for Protection. Same for Rogue, especially Rogue in conjunction with Med Team. This is like the most efficient thwarting package you can basically get in Protection, as well as, getting an attack of 4, which can help us close out the game, or deal with some minions. Spider-Man's traditionally not the best at dealing with minions, so Rogue pulls a lot of weight there. Jocasta is a staple card for Spider-Man, being able to store a backflip, also one of the best identity-specific cards in the game, being able to store that under her for whenever we need it. Nick is still just too good not to play. Moon Girl, Peter can play because of the Genius trait. And then Agent 13 is just a nice dose of value here. Agent 13 plus Helicarrier. It's kind of one of those just simple 2-card packages that gives a deck a ton of value generation throughout the game. Nebula scenario is one where we need a lot of value generation because we need to dedicate a lot of resources every turn to the Nebula ship environment, or at least every other turn where we're spending resources to remove counters from Nebula's ship. So I've got a lot of ways to generate additional resources in this deck, but really I don't think it's going to go to waste that much because a lot of those resources have to be reserved basically for the Nebula ship environment to not let that get out of hand. Hidden Base staple card. The Night Nurse stable card, this is one where, I will cut it if we're not going to get stunned and confused at all, but Nebula does have a technique that can stun us several times, so I think the Night Nurse is worth it here. I mentioned the 3 energy barriers. Energy barrier is really important for this matchup because of the Space Pirate minions who quick strike for 2 damage, and if they hit you, in the case of the boss minion, we have to remove a card in our hand from the game, or the lackeys, the smaller minions, will remove the cards from the top of our deck from the game. So, we want to be able to block those quick strike attacks if we can, because that can, if that hits a key card, that can really hurt us. So we want to, ideally get 2 energy barriers up, then we'll feel pretty safe that we can block those quick strike attacks without taking any damage, which the damaging us is the trigger that makes us lose a card. So energy barrier helps us do that. Also a tech, like I mentioned, because we've got Spider Bite in there. Also just a card that helps us justify to play the Power of Protection. We've got the 3 Ready for a Fights, talked about that already. And then a whole bunch of resource generators. Quinn Carrier, Helicarrier. Leo Fitz might look a little bit odd. One of the things with playing so many resource generators is that you can end up in situations where you do have too many resources with not enough to do. So Leo Fitz is a resource generator, but crucially always draws something that you can play. Even as opposed to a Helicarrier, which is drawing a random card from deck, or certainly in comparison to a Quinn Carrier or Helicarrier. I think I misspoke there. I meant Avengers Mansion is, Avengers Mansion gets a random draw, but this always draws something specific. So, unlike a Quinn Carrier or a Helicarrier, this actually is a value generator that gives us something to do with our resources. And so even though we don't get the shield discount here, I think it's still going to be worth it. We've got 7 total techs in the deck. And yeah, helps us get something to use our scientist ability on if we're flipping from hero form to alter ego form. Change of Fortune, crazy strong resource generator, of course. We've got the energy barriers to help facilitate that. And then Unflappable. I mean, one thing that we might end up doing a lot is just basic defending the Pirate Lackey or Commander quick strike attacks. So this would let us defend that and take no damage. Backflips, of course, count as defending and taking no damage, so I think Unflappable is a pretty decent resource generator. And then Ingenuity being a staple for any genius character. So a pretty just stock deck, no unifying theme to the deck really, except it's just a bunch of cards that mesh really well with Spider-Man. A little bit of tech stuff weaving through, but it's a light touch. But a lot of just the best cards that Protection has to offer. Lots of resource generators. No stunning and confusing. That's kind of how we've tailored this to the Nebula scenario. But yeah, this is just kind of one of the strongest ways we can build Spider-Man. So let's see how it does against Nebula. Let's break down the scenario here next. Let's take a look at the Nebula scenario here. I do this just in case you're less familiar with the scenario, or if you're looking for some strategy tips to help take down Nebula in your own games. So Nebula, very much mimics the Nebula hero. She's got her own set of technique attachments, and then similarly, whenever she activates, we trigger them, except in the villain's case, we only discard 1 at a time. But anyways, let's step through it here. So Nebula, stage 2. First of all, the first technique attachment each player reveals each round gains Surge. So this is already one of the reasons why Nebula is a really formidable villain. We've got these 8 technique attachments, all of which surge if drawn as a normal encounter card for the turn. Then this Forced Interrupt, when she initiates an activation, resolve the special ability on each technique attachment in play, then choose and discard 1 of those attachments. So because we only discard 1 at a time, this is why I mentioned in the deck breakdown why we actually don't mind her activating often, assuming we've got ways to, block and defend and stuff. But because whenever she activates, we get to discard 1. So if we stack up 4 or 5 of these techniques on her, then that can cause us some other sorts of problems. So by letting her activate, we can keep clearing those out. Make her get rid of Retaliate, make her get rid of Wide Stance, which reduces damage from attacks. Cutthroat Ambition reduces damage from attacks. So that's what's going on there. If we get to Nebula Stage 3, she's basically the same, except now, in order to discard one of those attachments that we triggered the special of, we have to remove our top card of the deck from the game. So, that's a cost, of course. We might want to be a little bit careful when we actually advance to stage 3. But hopefully by the time that we've had the luxury of dealing damage to stage 2, hopefully we're pretty close to closing out the game when we get to stage 3. It's easy to overrate how bad removing a card from your deck from the game is because of the sort of emotional feeling there, like, oh, that's a card you're never going to see again. But really, that's not that big of a deal. Like, your deck's a little bit smaller, so you'll get extra encounter cards faster. Especially by this point in the game, we should have a lot of our important cards set up already. So maybe we lose some less consequential pieces, but as long as we keep our swinging web kicks, that's kind of the main thing that we want to hang on to, because those are what are going to help us close out the game. I mentioned these 8 techniques. Just like the Nebula hero, they've all got some persistent ability. So here, Nebula gains Stalwart, Retaliate 1, reduce damage from attacks by 1, can't take more than 5 from a single attack. But then they've also got this special ability that triggers when Nebula does her thing, and from a few encounter cards as well. 2 copies of Ruthless. This is an extra activation treachery, so we will be tracking these throughout the deck as we play the game. And then moreover, if the activation kind of does something, if it places threat, or if it does damage, then we place 1 evasion counter on Nebula's ship. And I actually should have gone to this next because this is the other really major part of the scenario here. So when the villain phase begins, place 1 evasion counter here on Nebula's ship. Then the amount by which the main schemes go up every turn is X, where X is equal to the number of evasion counters on Nebula's ship. So it's always going to be at least 1, right? Because we put an evasion counter on at the start of the villain phase, and then step 1, we do the add that much threat. We have this first player action, Shoot the Thrusters, where we exhaust the Milano, which we'll also get to in a second, and spend up to 2 resources of any type, remove 1 evasion counter from here for each resource spent this way. So first thing to note there is we can only do that a max of 2 resources. So we can't let this get out of hand because we want to control it as much as we can, because we can only remove 2 a turn. It's going to get 1 put on every turn, and some encounter cards might even add a few more evasion counters there. So this is really like a tax on our resources. We really want every other turn, or even every turn, exhausting the Milano, spending some resources to remove evasion counters from here. Now, if we aren't getting extra ones, we can get by with doing it every other turn, because we can let it go up to 1, not remove it, let it go up to 2, then remove 2 at once. That's kind of an efficient way to do it. Whereas if we let it go on 1, remove it, go on 1, remove it, that's just less efficient, because exhausting the Milano is effectively spending a resource. So that's like spending 2 resources to remove 1 evasion counter versus spending 3 resources to remove 2 evasion counters. So we'd rather do that more often, just to be a little bit more efficient with the resources. Although I guess to be fair, it's 2 resources every turn. So over a 2-turn cycle, that's 4 resources. Whereas if we remove 2 every other turn, that's 3 total resources every other turn. So that's kind of the difference. It's 4 resources every 2 turns versus 3 resources every 2 turns. So we'd rather do the 3 resources every 2 turns. We've also got the Power Stone in this scenario. So that'll start the game attached to Nebula, which obviously affects her scheme and attack. So the only way Spider-Man really has to remove that from her is the swinging web kick. So not really something I've optimized for here with the choice of hero, but other heroes that can more easily get to 3 attack, or maybe playing aggression where you've got some more small attacks, or you play a combat training, that can be a more effective way to fight against Nebula as well, because you can try to get that Power Stone attached to yourself for most of the game. But that's not really going to be a factor for me here. All right, I was in the middle of... all right. Actually, I didn't really talk about the main schemes either here. Well, I said the main bit, which is they increment every turn by the number of evasion counters here. So that's one reason to really keep those evasion counters down. When we advance to stage 2, we're going to put 2 more evasion counters on Nebula's ship. So that's like really steep. That, because we can only net remove 1 a turn, like that can, if we've let it build up to 1 or 2 before that happens, like it can really take a long time to whittle that back down, and we really have to tread water for a while to get that to a reasonable place, especially because we're not that great at thwarting in this Spider-Man protection deck. But we do have 2 stages, so we've got a little bit of margin if we do advance the first one, but like I said, it makes the Nebula ship really hard. All right, keep going through the treacheries here. 2 Ruthless, extra activation, places extra evasion counters on Nebula's ship. 2 Combat Ready, that's going to discard cards from the deck until we reveal a technique attachment. We reveal it, so that's going to make it surge. And then we also resolve its special. So actually kind of a sneaky, nasty card there, that Combat Ready. 2 of this Barrel Roll, also a nasty card. Insight 1, surge, place an evasion counter on Nebula's ship. Also places an evasion counter if revealed as a boost. And I didn't even mention this, all of the techniques attach themselves to Nebula when revealed as a boost. So we're basically guaranteed to see them like every single deck pass, either for free off a boost or for free in the sense that they also surge. So hopefully it's all starting to come together why Nebula is such a difficult scenario. Lastly, in Nebula's set 2 of this Lethal Intent side scheme, only 2 threat, but it does reveal a technique when it comes into play. So again, we discard from the top of the deck until we get a technique, and it uses the word reveal again. So if that's the first technique that we've revealed each turn, we do another one. Heroic is kind of funny with how these techniques work, because only the first technique attachment that we reveal each round gains surge. So in Heroic, we're actually I actually don't know exactly how it affects things, but we're more likely to see at least one technique for sure, but we're also more likely to see multiple techniques, and techniques drawn after the first really aren't that scary of encounter cards overall, but they're not going to surge because they're not the first one. So hopefully we draw, or if we draw multiple on one turn, that's not actually the worst thing, because at least the latter ones won't surge. We've got the Space Pirates recommended modular set here. Talked about this one during the deck breakdown. We've got 5 of these Quick Strike minions that Quick Strike for 2, and then in the case of the Commander, if it damages us, removes a card at random in our hand from the game, versus the Pirate Lackey removes the top card of our deck from the game. So that's why I really care about those energy barriers, getting 2 in play to be able to prevent damage from those attacks, and we'll often just defend with Spider-Man to stop them from hitting us. 2 Honor Among Thieves, this is going to make us discard down to a criminal, reveal it, plus give it a tough, plus give the villain a face down boost. So kind of a bunch of bad things there. And a side scheme that's not so bad. We've got the ship command. This is required. Talked about it in other scenario breakdowns, so I'm not going to reiterate those things here, but we start the game with a Milano in play, a very strong resource generator. Overall, ship command makes a scenario easier for having it in it, but the Milano will be co-opted many turns for removing evasion counters from Nebula's ship. All right, sorry for kind of a long one, but Nebula really has a lot going on and kind of a lot we need to be aware of in order to play this and build for this optimally. So with that, we talked about the deck, talked about the scenario. Let's dive into the game. Just a quick rulings thing that I kind of mess up during this game. I mostly get it right, but there's a little nuance here that I miss. So when it comes to the order of these effects here, so Nebula has a forced interrupt. When Nebula initiates an activation against you, resolve the special on each technique attachment in play, then discard 1. So this is a forced interrupt. Spider-Man's interrupt: when the villain initiates an attack against you, draw 1 card. This clearly happens after Nebula's because that's a forced interrupt versus a regular interrupt. It gets a little tricky with Ready for a Fight. Ready for a Fight is an interrupt, but it says when an enemy would scheme, discard Ready for a Fight, change it to hero form, that enemy attacks you instead. So the key word here on Ready for a Fight is would. So Ready for a Fight actually happens before Nebula's thing happens. So if I'm in hero form, then all that happens is Nebula triggers her thing first, we resolve all the specials, discard 1, then Spider-Man draws, and we continue resolving the attack. If I start in alter ego form, Ready for a Fight should change me to hero form first, then we do that same thing. In the first part of this game, I did it in this order basically. Now, effectively, this doesn't matter because none of the techniques have an effect that changes based off what form we're in, so effectively the outcome is always the same. But just note that I should have been flipping to hero form before doing Nebula's forced interrupt, but I always do Nebula's forced interrupt before Spider-Man's interrupt, which is correct. So just a little rulings thing there. I correct it about 2/3 of the way through the video, but like I said, the effect should always be accurate. It never impacts the game until I catch it. All right, here comes the game. Getting set up here, we start with the Nebula ship environment in play. The Milano is in play. Attach the Power Stone to Nebula. Then we're going to discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck and attach each technique attachment discarded this way to Nebula. I keep thinking about it. I'm not actually sure if I'd rather see techniques here or just not at all. Because at least if we get... I think I'm still on... We would like to see 1 technique because then it'll just fall off right away. It's 1 less that can surge or build up later when we can only remove 1 at a time. So let's see what we get. No techniques. Starts with 2 threat. So yeah, one of the things about Nebula is there is basically no setup pressure. So we can really try to get a solid turn 1, set up resource generators that will compound over every future turn. We do get this really nice window to do that, helped of course by the Milano making us a resource, and Peter with the scientist ability. All right, here comes the opening hand. All right, lots of good options here. I never like to miss an opportunity to play ready for a fight. These are all nice cards. Just have to think what is the best. Because Leo Fitz is nice, but he's maybe not necessarily like a turn 1 play. But at least he's something to set up. Okay, I'm actually going to try to keep him. Man, I mean, you could say this about every card. I think Web Shooter is skippable. Just because it's finite resource generation. Night Nurse is maybe not quite relevant. I think I can discard 1 energy barrier. I'd really like to see double resources here. So I'm going to have 8 resources. 2, 4, 4. I can't quite play. Oh, but Leo's going to draw 1. So I need to get 1 more double and I could play all 3 of these. I don't know if Patriot's really the best either. Especially early game. I don't know. I'll mulligan these 4. I've got Leo to help draw any of the text that would make an efficient turn. Let's do this. Okay. Scientist, 2, 3 for Leo. So whatever I search up, it's just going to be a resource. So let's get Spider Tracer, because that's just the least playable one whenever we draw it later. So we're not going to have any defenses up, but two nice resource generators into play. Flip to hero form. Pay 3 for Quinn Carrier. Quinn Carrier pays for Ready for a Fight. Thwart for 1. And end the turn. Definitely want to thwart on these early turns. No reason to push the damage quite yet. So, 1 evasion counter at the start of the villain phase. 1 threat. Nebula initiates an attack. We draw. I'm not going to defend this first attack. So it's going to come in for 3 plus a boost of 2 for 5. 2 encounter cards. Sound the alarms. Each enemy gets +1 attack. Master Plan adds 4 threat to that. Well, that's about as mild a turn as we can get, because Sound the Alarms is not really an immediate threat. It does get really annoying with the quick strikers, but we still defend for 3, and all the quick strikers attack naturally for 2. So I think that's an extremely fortunate opening villain phase. I guess I could enhanced Spider Sense that Master Plan if I want, but that doesn't really seem worth it. Alright, and this looks like a good opportunity to flip down. Since we've got Ready for a Fight, we can play Ingenuity and Moon Girl. Basic activation. Probably not recover. Thwart the main scheme for 1. Nothing else that needs to be done in hero form here. So we'll just flip straight down. Pay 2 for Ingenuity. I'm resourced up here. We got everything I could ask for there. Scientist, Ingenuity, Quinn Carrier. To play Moon Girl, draw 3. Oops, I accidentally saw the card right below this. It doesn't matter because I'm going to search with Leo. And, fortunately, drew some irrelevant cards, so going to be a little inefficient, but Leo will search up an energy barrier. Oh, I could just keep this backflip in hand. I kind of like that. I could also keep Enhanced Spider Sense in hand instead. I think we'll keep the backflip. So then we'll pay 2 for Energy Barrier, 3 for Med Team, Moon Girl. Might have to block right away, so let's activate Thwart for 2 off Sound the Alarms. And end the turn. I even drew the second enhanced spider sense, which is really nice. Up to 2 evasion counters, 2 threat on the main scheme now. Nebula would scheme, we pop ready for a fight to flip to hero form. Now she attacks, spider sense to draw, and I'm gonna just prepare to backflip this one. So attacking for 4, plus a boost of 2, we'll backflip 2 encounter cards. Exhaustion, surges into Shadow of the Past. Let's cancel the heck out of that with enhanced spider sense. Wide stance, our first technique, which will surge into a second wide stance. So this is the one that reduces damage from attacks and makes us discard cards from hand. That is really going to eat our resources next turn, but ultimately not that bad of encounter cards to see. Now ready for a fight this turn. So once we budget effectively 3 resources for the ship, we have 4 resources left, which is just a little bit awkward. Unless I could try flipping down. We let the main scheme pop. But we get the Leo Fitz value, a tough from Hidden Base, possibly play Rogue. So yeah, this is, we could swinging web kick to take the Power Stone. Moon Girl could thwart the main scheme down to 1. And we could make it so that we only advance on 2 boost icons. I don't love swinging web kick this early. Black Cat could make things flow a little bit if we draw a mental resource. We could do Black Cat and Unflappable. A little bit of a roll of the dice. One ready for a fight left this deck pass. I don't really love flipping down. It does avoid quick strike a little bit. It's not like Rogue is that crucial to play. All right, let's do Milano plus 1, 2, just gonna think think a little bit longer about actually web kicking Nebula. I don't really think so, because we're still gonna still want the opportunity to use backflips and tough statuses to their full effect. Okay, I think I'm going to go for hidden base. The other option is black cat and try to hit unflappable. I'm going to go hidden base. Milano +2 to remove 2 evasion counters. Let's keep unflappable. I've got plenty of allies still in the deck that I can draw. 2 for hidden base. Keep unflappable in hand, save Moon Girl to be able to block and end the turn. Disgusting hand. Makes me wish I kept a rogue. 1 evasion counter. 1 threat on the main scheme up to 4. I guess we'll have our hand taken care of here by these wide stances. We're going to discard 2 cards at random. Roll a die here. 1 to 5, left to right. 6 is a reroll. 1 is unflappable. Do it again, now 1 through 4. 3, power protection. Then we'll discard 1 of these. Spider Sense to draw. And let's have Moon Girl block. 4 plus a boost of 3 and under Fire Gone. Two encounter cards, Cannonade, Side Scheme, and Assault. Yeah, nothing really to think about here. It's going to be a basic defense. First, we'll discard a card from hand. 1 to 4. 3, shoot, is the Helicarrier. Then this gets discarded. We draw a card. Ooh. Well, I'm not going to defend anymore. Yep. Attack comes in for 5 plus 1 is 6. We'll backflip it. Okay, well, actually kind of drew okay. Power of Protection for Daredevil. We'll do the Milano action to remove 3 threat from Cannonade. This wouldn't be the craziest turn to flip down, but let's just wait for ready for a fight. Clear Cannonade. Daredevil thwarts for 2 on the main scheme. Pay 1 for Web Shooter. Wasting ingenuity value here, but it is what it is. And yep, stay in hero form once again. Haven't seen that many techniques yet, which means we're going to get a whole bunch at once. Things might look relatively under control, but believe me, they're not. All right, pretty juicy hand now. To 2 evasion counters, 2 threat on the main scheme. Basically, as soon as we ever go to state main scheme 2, this is going to be out of hand. And eventually we're going to get like 3 or 4 techniques on one turn, and that's going to start really working us over. All right, no techniques now. Spider-Man will draw when the attack goes. And nothing to do but a Daredevil block here. 4 plus a boost of 2. 2 encounter cards. Combat ready. We get Cutthroat Ambition, which will be revealed, so it will reveal it and resolve its special. So that'll put 1 threat on the main scheme. And then Surge into another Combat Ready. Evasive Maneuvering, we're going to be stunned. Power Siphon. We will discard 1 card at random from hand, almost certainly. Basically everything's like equally good, lots of good stuff here. But can't exhaust the Milano, and then I think spending 2 resources is just more value than discarding 1 card at random. I've got 6 cards here, so I can roll for it. 1 to 6, left to right. 4 is the double, but oh well. Okay. So we've got 4 cards left in deck. One of them is a Ready for a Fight, which would let me flip down. Don't think there's any more techs in deck at the moment for Leo to search up. Tracer, Shooter, Energy Barrier, and then 1 in hand. Don't think I'll be drawing through my deck either. But Nick is good here, so we're going to play Nick. We'll pop the Web Shooter. Almost certain. I can't imagine not spending all my resources on this hand somehow. 1, 2, 3, 4. For Nick, draw 3 cards. Aunt May is in here somewhere too. There we go, first card. And we miss Ready for a Fight. Yikes. But we've got good stuff to play. Also means this Ready for a Fight doesn't get in the next deck pass. Milano plus 2, 2 evasion counters. Nick thwarts for 2 on the main scheme. it's going to go up to 4 from step 1, 5 from Cutthroat Ambition. So then we've got to be careful about barrel rolls. There's still 1 barrel roll. Well, both advances, but might not be able to play around in advance this turn. I guess I haven't been playing around advance for many turns now. What's our technique count here? We saw both wide stances. We got 2 out here, so there's still 4 more in there, including Cutthroat Ambition, which could also add a threat to the main scheme. So I should probably thwart it again with Spider-Man. Yeah, that's pretty easy actually. Thwart for 1 with Spider-Man. And Jocasta looks really nice because I get the backflip. But then that stops the backflips being in the reshuffle. And I could take this opportunity to play Aunt May and a second Energy Barrier. Energy Barrier not at its best yet because lackeys are still quick striking for 3. So maybe I could get out Change of Fortune instead. Doesn't feel right not to play Aunt May. No. I'm liking just Aunt May plus Change of Fortune. Getting a tech back in the deck is mildly nice for Leo, but it's not like I won't have techs in the deck at all. Alright, I think I skip Change of Fortune for now, but we'll be efficient with the resources. Pay 1 for Aunt May, pay 2 for Energy Barrier, number 2. And the turn. Because I haven't really been thinking about med teaming myself. But it doesn't feel very good. Oh, what's happened to my voice? Doesn't feel very good to med team yourself when Aunt May is in play. So we run through the deck. Which is much smaller now for this second deck pass. We've got 10 cards in play. One evasion counter, 1 threat, step 1. Nebula initiates an attack, 1 threat on the main scheme. We are already stunned, so Nebula gets a boost. We'll discard Cutthroat Ambition. I didn't think about this. An extra attack is kind of rough with the extra additional boost card. I've got 2 energy barriers, maybe it's not the worst thing, and Aunt May is active. So I might cut it close, but I should be able to survive a second attack. Nick's obviously going to block the first one. So 4 plus 1 plus an additional card. So a whole lot of damage, and 2 additional attacks out of the deck. But now this is where we might just get like 5 techniques. And okay, so 2 more encounter cards. Start revealing. Pirate Lackey attacks, and yeah, I think we're gonna defend here. Let's defend and not remove a card from the deck. Pirate Lackey number 2. Far less I can do about this one. Only question is if I let it hit me for the full 3 or if I energy barrier some of it. I think I need to energy barrier some of it. So that I don't die, especially if I get attacked again. So I'll energy barrier 2 of it. Send it back at the Lackey. I'll take 1, remove the top card of the deck from the game. Bye-bye, Helicarrier. Last one. Weapon Mastery surges into Lethal Intent, which will make us discard until we get a technique and reveal it. So Cutthroat Ambition. But we already surged once, so that just sits. So there's Nebula for you. We just got, 5 new encounter cards. And let's see how much we can do. Oh, I did not, I'm gonna go back and give myself a draw when Nebula attacked me. And what a draw it is. Yeah, Helicarrier hurts. That reduces my maximum output ceiling. But I think this will be a nice turn. I don't need to Nebula ship action this turn. We're going to start with Rogue. 1, 2, Web Shooter for 3. Web Kick for 4 to play Rogue. So I want to play her in hero form so that I can tap myself. So we'll pay the cost here, deal 1 damage to another friendly character. I'm going to redirect that damage to the Pirate Lackey. I still paid the cost because the cost is just deal. I didn't have to take, which is an important distinction. So now Rogue is 3 thwart, 4 attack. So no rush to activate yet, so let's wait to see what else we draw. Flip down. Scientist, Ingenuity, Quinn Carrier for Moon Girl, draw 3. Heck of draws. So Spider Bite for free. We'll organize here in a second. Leo. I think an Energy Barrier. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a tough when I flip down from Hidden Base. Aunt May to heal for 4. Kind of stack resource generators. Pay 2 for Energy Barrier number 3. So now we do fully stop Pirate Lackey attacks, even if Sound the Alarms is left in play. Milano makes a physical for Ready for a Fight. And honestly, Spider Tracer, I was kind of ignoring the Spider Tracer, but I could use it to thwart for 3 somewhere right away. I don't desperately need to remove my stun anytime soon. So I kind of like a Spider Tracer here. Spider Tracer onto Pirate Lackey. This lets Rogue just attack and kill the Pirate Lackey. Her attack is still 4. When that's defeated, remove 3 threat from a scheme. Let's hit the main scheme. Spider Bite thwarts and clears Lethal Intent. I think Moon Girl will thwart for 2 on Sound the Alarms. Okay, this was a big turn. This was a really nice turn. Still got a ton of techniques to contend with. But we've got Rogue plus Med Team online. Aunt May. 2 Ready for a Fight still in deck. Tough status. Feeling good. End the turn. Okay, nice. Always nice to draw exactly 1 Ready for a Fight so that we don't draw them on the same turns, be inefficient. Up to 2 evasion counters. 2 threat on the main scheme. Give Nebula a boost. Oh, how did I just not even see that this was there? Yeah, well, I overlapped and that's how. Take a damage. Waste of a tough, unfortunately. I was even thinking about that, like, because I know Hidden Base is awkward with Weapon Mastery, but yeah, oh well. 1 threat on the main scheme. Ready for a Fight. Still got both advances in the deck. Good chance we get advanced here. Flip. Oh, and I'll discard 1 of these. I think, yeah, Cutthroat Ambition, just adding the threat is just consistently the worst. All right, attack starts. We draw. And I do have that backflip in hand. No competition for ally slots yet. So I'll plan to take this one and backflip. So it comes in for 4 plus 0 plus 1. We'll backflip. Two encounter cards. Weapon Mastery number 2. Surges into Honor Among Thieves. Let's do a minion count. This could be cancelable. Lackey 1, Lackey 2, Commander, Lackey 3. So there's still a 4th Commander in there. Check the advances, because if there's still an advance in there, I want to be able to cancel. If this is advance, I want to be able to cancel that. Yeah, there's still one advance in there. So I think I'd rather save my enhanced spider sense for that. It's still pretty bad if I can't stop in advance, because then we are at tons of counters there. All right, I'll let it resolve. There's our Pirate Lackey. Pirate Lackey comes in, gets a tough. Nebula gets a boost. Quick strikes. Wouldn't be crazy to basic defend this. Keep the energy barriers. Yeah, I'm just going to basic defend this, the quick strike. Then Unyielding Persistence. I forgot if I surged already. I knew I drew that Weapon Mastery. Right, I only had one Weapon Mastery at the start of the turn. These were our 2 boost cards. Honor Among Thieves. This card. I think I already surged from Weapon Mastery. So this comes in, and it's the one that gives Nebula Tufts. Okay, I'm gonna do a cut here just so I can check that. I'm approaching time where I need to get the storage off my phone as well. So I'll do a cut, I'll check that I didn't forget to surge there. We'll shuffle when I get back, including shuffling this back in before redealing it, because otherwise I could game what that is. See you in 2 seconds. All right, back from my cut here. I'll need to make another cut kind of soon. I've got half an hour left here before I gotta go do something. But see if we can keep making progress. This is where the game gets really hard. Once Nebula stacks all these techniques, it can be really hard to actually close her out because of the retaliate. Once we get wide stances back, that reduces the damage that comes into her. Cutthroat Ambition means she can't take more than 5 from a single attack. So this is a pretty straightforward turn though. We do still have, I checked during the cut as well, we still have 1 advance among these 3 cards. I guess now that I think about it, it's guaranteed to be a boost. Well, she'll get a tough, an extra boost because we're stunned, and then the regular boost. So I guess I don't need to play around that advance. Because I could flip down, but the flip down isn't doing me much. The tough doesn't do much. Aunt May doesn't heal the full amount. Leo has nothing to find right now, because all 3 energy barriers are out, both spider tracers and both web shooters. So I don't actually think it's a flip down turn. We'll exhaust the Milano +2, remove 2 evasion counters there. sorry, instead of spending the Quinn Carrier on that, I'm going to spend the Swinging Web Kick. Now Quinn Carrier will be a physical if we're ready for a fight. Could keep enhanced, I don't think that's worth it. Overpay for a Web Shooter number 2. And then pay 1 for Spider Tracer on Pirate Lackey. Rogue will tap Spider-Man. We'll deflect it with the Energy Barrier. I want to get these back in the deck by the next deck pass at least. Oh, this is the other thing I was thinking about. My med team uses are best for Rogue, but I could get an extra activation out of Moon Girl here if I wanted to. So just looking at which energy barrier thing to spend. So I'm going to tag Peter. Let's get this one back in the discard here. Prevent it with the energy barrier. Use that to hit the tough off Pirate Lackey. Rogue attacks the Pirate Lackey for 4. Takes it out. Spider Tracer, 3 off the main scheme. Because Rogue plus Med Team is just such a value engine, especially to close out the game with. But I do really want Sound the Alarm out of play. Got another backflip in the deck that I might draw. Okay, I'm gonna med team. I'm gonna med team Moon Girl. So that'll heal her for 2. We'll thwart for 2 to clear Sound the Alarms. So now I only need, the good thing here is I only need 2 energy barriers to stop a quick striking minion. Then everyone else is good to go, so end the turn. Okay, drew backflip, which is nice. One evasion counter. One threat. Nebula initiates. Take 2 damage. I am just going to take this damage because then Aunt May heals for full. I get max value there. Nebula's going to get a boost card because we're already stunned. And then Nebula's going to get a tough status. I'm going to let this come in and plan to backflip, get my draw. So we deal the actual boost card, which triggers a reshuffle. We haven't even hit a single barrel roll this game. I wonder if one of these is a barrel roll. One of the boost cards. mildly good thing, I guess, we stranded 4 techniques out of the deck that aren't going to surge, but we'll draw them anyways, one way or another. Alright, revealing... Oh, and I get to pick one of these to discard. I think I discard the Retaliate. Makes it really hard to push the damage. Alright, our boost cards. Yep, we had 1 barrel roll there. Oh, this is not that much damage. 1, 2, 3, 4 damage coming in. I could just hold the backflip. Get that evasion counter. Backflip's so good. I don't have a ton to do with my hands anymore. Let's just backflip it. Two encounter cards. Pirate Commander. Quick strikes for 2. Let's energy barrier. And I actually... Yeah, we'll just energy barrier both back. If Nebula would start another activation, I can ping the Tough off from the Weapon Mastery special before she gets an extra boost card, which is generally better. And then card number 2, Combat Ready. Ooh, I think this is very worth, I think this is really worth Enhanced Spider Sense. Because that technique, whatever we get, is going to be around forever. So let's Ingenuity to Enhanced Spider Sense that Combat Ready. Okay, Med Team, Rogue. This is where Ready Exhaust tokens would be nice, because I don't think I'll forget that I used it already, but I could easily. All right, Milano. I guess I could play Black Cat, Jocasta, and do the Milano thing if I flip down, maybe. And if I hit a single resource off Black Cat. Yeah, might as well. Don't have anything else to play. Let's have Moon Girl. No, okay. Let's have Rogue tag Spider-Man. We will energy barrier off the Tough from Nebula. Moon Girl attacks Nebula for 2. Which does a retaliate 1, which kills her before the consequential damage. Then I'll pay 2 for Black Cat. See what we get here. Flip the top 2. Hey, there's a mental. Not a mental. But a mental thing I could play, which is nice. So now I was gonna just attack the Pirate Commander for 4 with Rogue. But now I can prime this for a change of fortune. Easier said than done. Hard to do exactly 3 damage to it. I was looking at a flip down. mean, I could literally attack it for 1 with Spider Bite, Black Cat, and Jocasta, but that feels very inefficient. I think we're going to have Spider Bite, Thwart for 2 on the main scheme. That opens up a spot for Jocasta. I don't mind getting it down to 2, but then I have to use both energy barriers to kill it. I think that's probably worth it. So, Power of Protection plus Web Shooter for Jocasta. Get a backflip. Web Shooter for Change of Fortune. We're just totally filled up on stuff. What's Rogue doing then? Just attack for 4 and take the retaliate? Feels pretty bad. Gotta push damage somehow. Alright, yeah, let's attack. Let's attack for 4. We'll take a retaliate from the weapon mastery. Damage can be a little hard to come by at this stage of the game. Jocasta and Black Cat. You know what? I think this is dumb. I think that was dumb. I'm going to take that back. Jocasta's not going to activate. Rogue will just attack the Pirate Commander. Because I get the draw 2 from Change of Fortune, but I also just lose the energy barriers, and I'd like to give myself an opportunity to have that stop a lackey attack. I don't need to use Jocasta. Black Cat feels kind of bad not to attack with 1 somewhere. I could attack for 1 here, take a retaliate, and survive that. Or I could save that to do a thwart eventually. I think it's more likely Black Cat will block and get back in rotation. Let's just attack for 1. So we'll take the retaliate, but no consequential damage. I didn't even think about Spider-Man's activation. I guess it doesn't really matter. Should have had... I don't know. We'll just exhaust, remove, stun. We're going to get it right back, but slows down the encounter deck a little bit. 1 fewer boost card, 1 fewer technique opportunity. Flip down. No tough this time. Aunt May for 4. Scientist, Quinn Carrier, Milano, 2 evasion counters. End the turn. Ooh, we are gonna run through the deck. 1 evasion counter, 2 threat on the main scheme now with the acceleration. Nebula initiates, take a damage, fine. You are stunned, Nebula gets a tough. Is the last card Night Nurse? No, we saw that. Don't know what I played over Night Nurse. Discard the retaliate. Instead of a scheme, let's ready for a fight. Is this still right? Yeah, for sure. Draw. It's gonna be a small deck this time. Oh, I don't like that I didn't get these energy barriers back in the deck. Oh, here's what it is. Encounter card. I could have easily spent 1 to hit the tough off of Nebula. But, of course, I'm going to be thankful when I draw a Pirate Lackey and then survive. Very small deck this time now, with even more cards in play and a full hand when I hit the reshuffle. So we drew, attack is coming in. We've got Jacosta's backflip. I'm also just going to want to play allies this turn. So I might just block with Black Cat. Agent 13 is not great since we lost our Helicarrier. The Patriot would be good. Let's block with Black Cat. 3 plus a boost of 2. Two encounter cards, total of 3. Cutthroat Ambition, Surges, Blind Side. So I can't stun myself, either exhaust the Milano or spend physical. As it stands, it wouldn't be a turn that I would want to use the Milano to remove counters from Nebula's ship. So I might just spend physical. Yeah, I'll play around the possibility of getting a second one on there. Spend physical. Shadow of the Past. Nothing I can do this time. Vulture. Highway Robbery. Shuffle in some stunners and a card that can discard and add threat to the main scheme. I think I just let Vulture hit me. I've got very good health. Ready for a fight this turn. Let's lose a card from Highway Robbery. 1 to 5, left to right. 4 is Patriot. Vulture hits me for 3. Okay, that's Shadow of the Past done. Lethal Intent. So we'll go get a Technique. Really hope I just don't discard too much here. Okay, that's acceptable. Oh, but then I have to discard a card from my hand. So, wide stance. Please not ready for a fight. 1 through 4, left to right. 3, Swinging Web Kick. This is not Surge because we already surged with Cutthroat Ambition. Alright, I think I got one more turn here before I gotta go do stuff. Okay, Rogue is gonna tag Spider-Man. Just let it happen. Rogue thwarts for 3 on highway robbery. Jocasta thwarts for 2. Lethal intent. Yeah, I'm not going to do a ship this turn. So physical for ready for a fight. Quinn carrier for unflappable. Nope. Alright, yeah, this is fine. Yep. No, actually, no. I want to spend the web shooter. So not the Quinn carrier. Spend the web shooter for that unflappable. Thwart for 1. See if I can stave that off. Flip down. Now I can hidden base. There's no wide stance in play anymore. Aunt May to heal for 4. Leo to search. Okay, I'm gonna take, because I could just get Spider Tracer. Okay, I'm gonna take back Spider-Man's thwart. And you just remove my stun instead. Because I'm gonna get Spider Tracer. Scientist, put Spider Tracer on Vulture. Quinn Carrier, Ingenuity, Agent 13 for Patriot. Patriot attacks Vulture for 2. Didn't use Med Team yet, I don't think. I can save it though. There's not really a rush to do it right now. Just in case I did use it and forget. Okay, evasion counter. No, this was dumb. I'm gonna let myself. I thwarted for one. I thwarted for one. Because this is just straight up going to pop if I don't. And I would never do that, even though I've seen my hand. Getting the boost isn't that bad, but I thought the timing would work out where Spider Tracer would remove 3 threat, potentially. But I'm gonna let myself do that. I don't care. So that's up to 2. 3 threat. Nebula goes. Discard a card from hand. 1 through 6. 1 is strength. Nebula gets 2 boosts from already having tough and we're stunned. 1 threat on the main scheme from Cutthroat Ambition. Then I think I just have to discard Cutthroat Ambition to try not to advance here. I'm just having my realization that I wonder if Ready for a Fight is supposed to trigger Nebula's Forced Interrupt twice. Well, you're probably not seeing this if I've been playing that wrong the whole time. But the attack is coming in. I do have a tough. Yeah. Okay. Let's take it onto the tough is the plan. 3rd boost card. No boost abilities. Vulture attacks. I'm going to Energy Barrier 2 of it. Take 1 of it. Send the 2 from Energy Barrier back at it. That'll take him out. Spider Tracer, 3 threat off the main scheme. Change of Fortune to draw 2 cards. Oh, I forgot to actually pop the Ready for a Fight. Sorry, I distracted myself there. I'm going to let myself draw off Spider-Man and then draw 2 cards off Change of Fortune. And now we're in encounter cards. Gang Up. Possibly cancelable, but I've got Backflip. It would let me discard another thing here, so I'm going to let it happen. Plus, I will get a draw. So Nebula will get 2 boost cards again, which I don't like that part of it. How much do I have to do this turn? Oh, a lot. So yeah, I'm going to let it happen. 2 boost cards, discard a card at random from hand. Enhance Spider Sense. Then we'll discard the discarding one. Spider-Man will draw. We'll plan to backflip. No boost ability. Backflip from under Jocasta to take no damage. Draw off Unflappable. Card number 2. Power Siphon. Let's discard a card at random from hand. The Night Nurse. Can never land her. Alright, well, I'm at time where I have to take another cut because I gotta go do some life stuff. And yeah, in that meantime, I'll definitely check whether or not I should be triggering Nebula's thing twice for the sake of Ready for a Fight, in which case you won't have seen this game. Alright, be right back and shuffle. Alright, back from my cut here. Let's lay out the hand here as I shuffle. Do a quick fan of my discards in case you're someone who wants to check that I didn't sneak anything out or into the encounter deck. So we've got like nothing on board to deal with. So this looks like at least one swinging web kick turn. And I'm guessing I could advance if I wanted to. Which I think I will. We might start removing cards from deck to Nebula, but we've still got all three swinging web kicks for now. Rogue is going to be a consistent damage source on board. I don't think it's anything to lose a ton of sleep over. So first I need to attack to remove my stun. So assuming I do this for here, energy barrier. I can't play energy barrier in both swinging web kicks. I could have Jocasta attack. Web kick, Patriot, Rogue finishes this stage. Web kick number 2. Yeah, it works out perfect. I could do exactly both web kicks instead of energy barrier and instead of Nick. I was kind of looking at playing Nick here, just being his typically efficient self. But both web kicks is kind of appealing. Just try to slam this door closed. We've got Rogue attacking for 4 every turn. It's a very interesting idea. We know that Nebula might get back tough again, so the energy barrier is nice to hit off tough statuses. Do a ready for a fight check. 2 left in the deck, so actually pretty good chance that Nick would draw one. I think I want to play this energy barrier, which probably means only one swinging web kick. I'm gonna start with Jocasta thwarting for 2. Takes her out. Let's get ready to play Nick. 1, 2, 3, 4, ingenuity. For Nick, draw 3. Did not draw ready for a fight. Because I drew a double, I still could double swinging web kick. And use a web shooter to do the Milano action. If I don't double web kick, I've got energy barrier, 1 web kick, 1 extra resource. I could possibly play spider bite, sacrificing someone else, which isn't really a big difference. All right, now I'm back on swing. I'm back on double web kick, which does mean I can only attack the tough off with a value of 2. So Nick will hit the tough off. Pay 3 for swinging web kick. 8 damage down to 6. Just double checking these, just the ones that say she can't, or say that she's stalwart. Then med team to heal Rogue. Rogue tags Spider-Man. Rogue attacks for 4. Patriot attacks for 2. Finishes this stage. Nothing special happens when she advances, but now we have to remove a card from the top of our deck in order to discard the attachments when we trigger her forced interrupt. 3 from hand for a swinging web kick, down to 12. Milano plus Quinn Carrier plus Web Shooter to do Nebula's ship, and end the turn. I have a lot fewer upgrades, or a lot fewer things in play now. All right, 1 evasion counter, 2 threat on the main scheme. Nebula initiates, we're stunned, she's tough. I will remove a card, especially because we know it's not a swinging web kick. In fact, it's the other ready for a fight, which is very losable right now. So we'll lose a ready for a fight to discard, I think, the stunning one. Oh, sorry, pardon me. Oh, I should have taken... I finally didn't attack for more than 3, so I should have actually taken the stone from her. I think that was my first time hitting her with a web kick. Right, 'cause she was at 14 at the start of that turn. Just from some chip damage here and there. Okay, but I removed a card, so now I'm picking one of these to discard. They're kind of the same, because if she keeps getting tough, it takes an attack to clear that. I'll get rid of the stun. There can be some more awkward stuff where, like, I need to exhaust to defend, but then I can't swinging web kick because I'm stunned. If we draw a web kick right away here, there's a chance we got lethal. All right, Spider Sense to draw. Webbed up, not quite. Then Nick will block the attack. 3 plus a boost of 1 plus an additional card, which is to place 1 evasion counter on Nebula's ship. Not as bad at this point in the game. Nick's taken out 2 encounter cards, total of 3 with enhanced Spider Sense at the ready. Master Plan, I think that's going to be okay. Advance, Assault, Exhaustion, Sound the Alarms. 2 threat. Card number 2, Wide Stance. That is going to make killing Nebula a little slower. Surges into Pirate Lackey. And I am going to basic defend this. Quick strike. Draw off of Unflappable. Last card, Sweeping Swoop, stun your hero, hit vultures, and play Surge. Nice, nice. So, complete whiff there. Alright, not seeing a win here immediately. I'm going to give Patriot a tough for Pirate Lackey coming into play. But can't imagine anything too bad can happen here. Power of Protection for Energy Barrier. Do I even care about this Pirate Lackey? I can flip down, get Energy Barrier number 2. Gives me 2 Energy Barriers, so in that way, the Pirate Lackey actually fuels me just attacking Nebula more. Also, I can just let Nebula hit me. There's nothing wrong with that. She'll take the Power Stone back. Whoop-de-doo. Well, I guess I'll have a tough for the first one. I think I keep the Pirate Lackey alive and just push more damage with Rogue. And then I think I just keep Enhanced Spider Sense in hand for next turn. Pay Milano +2 for the Nebula ship action. Rogue tags Spider-Man. Not going to prevent it because I have a full heal for 4 without May coming in. Oh wait, that's actually... Actually, I am going to Energy Barrier it, just as a way to hit the tough off. So that Rogue can get in for the full amount. So Rogue attacks for 4. It gets reduced by 1 because of Wide Stance. So it'll go to 9. Energy Barrier itself is not an attack, of course, so that doesn't get reduced. Flip down. Pay a physical for a web shooter, because why not? Leo. An Energy Barrier. I think Leo's been okay this game. I'm not sure if he would have been better than just a Helicarrier. But I do really like that aspect of drawing things that I can actually play. I guess maybe Avengers Mansion is the closer comparison, but even that can still draw resource cards and leave me with too many resources and not enough to do. What happened to my webbed up? This was going to be my physical for ready for a fight. Okay, this was my plan the whole time. I just clearly botched it, so I'm gonna... How did I... well, I wasn't going to use this in hero form anyways. I'll say that I spent Scientist for Web Shooter. Here's my physical for Ready for a Fight. Pay the double for Energy Barrier. Oh, I'm gonna give myself the tough from Hidden Base. Missed a lot of things in the moment. Hidden Base, the draw. So I hope you don't mind me missing all those things. But obviously a lot going on in this game, and I haven't... It's not like I would ever not draw a card with Peter, so... And then Aunt May to heal 4 up to full. And Patriot could make a case for just attacking. It only attacks for 1. Let's just keep the tough. I've got 5 damage here with the energy barriers. There's like absolutely no way we don't have lethal next turn. So let's end the turn. Maybe just save Patriot in case something disastrous might happen. Oh, I didn't remove any threat from the main scheme. That's whatever. 1 evasion counter, 2 threat on the main scheme up to 4. Oh, I did tease before my previous cut whether I thought Ready for a Fight should actually make Nebula's Forced Interrupt trigger twice. So I have been doing this slightly wrong, which I'll probably make a little note of at some point in the video earlier. But the wood actually happens before Nebula's Forced Interrupt, because this is a wood when an enemy would scheme. So I don't think it would change anything of the sequencing so far. Basically, the only thing that's different is that I changed to hero form before Nebula's triggers, but that's still before I draw, and so I don't think her special triggers have ever cared about what form I'm actually in, so I think that's been okay. So in any case, Ready for a Fight switches us. Now she initiates an attack. Discard a random card from hand. 1 through 6, left to right. 5, Ready for a Fight. Give Nebula a tough status card. I will remove the top card of my deck from the game. There's a backflip to discard Wide Stance. Spider-Man draws. Attack comes in. Gonna let it hit my tough. 4 plus a boost of 2. Hits the tough. Pirate Lackey attacks for 3. I do have a swinging web kick in hand, so I've got bajillion damage. Let's energy barrier 2 of Pirate Lackey's attack. 1 goes to the tough, 1 goes to the body, 1 goes to me. Remove the top card of our deck from the game, the Night Nurse. Then 2 encounter cards. Hull Breach. Yeah, we'll deal 3 damage to the first player. I'll prevent 2 of it with energy barriers. And take 1, send the energy barriers back at Nebula. And then a Pirate Lackey will attack, and Patriot will just block it. And there we go. At some point there, when Nebula hit me on the tough, she should have taken the Power Stone back, but it's not going to matter. Exhaust to remove my stun. Swinging web kick for the win. All right. Well, how about that? A Spider-Man protection deck that never advanced past a 6 threat main scheme stage 1. Pretty impressive. That's really such a huge part of the game here, though. Like, if I ever got hit with an advance, or the certain barrel roll, cutthroat ambition combo to cause it to pop. That adds two evasion counters to Nebula's ship. And now I'm going many turns in a row of spending 3 resources a turn to reduce that down, as opposed to for basically all of this game, I was only spending every other turn to reduce this. So that's a big resource difference. Rogue plus Med Team was as good as I thought it would be. This was my big change from, I did 1 practice game and then 1 recorded game that I was just really unhappy with, so I didn't share that one. So apologies for cherry picking my games slightly here to have this one be the one that you're seeing. But it didn't really feel like that deck even had a chance. But adding Rogue plus Med Team, that was the kind of big value. Like Rogue killed a bunch of minions, took a big chunk or 2 off of the main scheme at one point. Just that value tandem, really, really strong. Spider-Man, of course, Spider-Man does his thing, tons and tons of resources. Our Ready for a Fights came pretty steadily, so we had lots of alter ego turns mixed in there. Still some turns where I stayed in hero form because Ready for a Fight then let me play around in advance. Yeah, very, very impressive win. I guess that's not a very modest thing to say, but I think this really was kind of the level of resource generation that I needed to be able to pull this out. Like all these resource generators in play, given that every other turn or sometimes every turn, 3 are reserved for the ship, makes everything else is kind of the normal amount of resource generators you might have. These kind of feel extra if you just look at the deck list, but in the context of the scenario, it just makes a lot of sense. We didn't get burned too hard by removing things from the deck. We removed the helicarrier early on, which would have let us hit a higher output ceiling, but we stabilized just fine and were able to outpace Nebula to the end of the game, even after removing that helicarrier. And then these 3 were at the very end as we had the win locked up. All right. Yeah, epic game there. Hopefully that was tight from a rules perspective. Like I said, I should have been flipping to hero form on those Ready for Fights before doing Nebula specials, but I don't think that ever mattered. I'll be checking for that as I rewatch it back. And there we go. Second to last scenario down for my challenge. And on one of the hardest scenarios of the game there, Nebula. But, of course, we still have the big one, Ronin, the Accuser, coming up next, the hardest scenario in the game. I'll talk about my approach for that one. I'll tease it now here. I'm actually going to do 2 attempts for that. I'm going to try a rush deck, and I'm going to try a control deck. So the first video that you see won't be the last video of my challenge, per se, because I'm going to, no matter how those games go, I'm going to try it in a rush strategy, and then I'm going to try it in a control strategy. So I think that'll be a pretty interesting way to see it. Like, yeah, with the rush deck, it's kind of inevitable that we'll eventually win, but maybe it's only a 1 in 100 chance or something. Then we'll see if we can actually control it and win. But anyways, there we go. Nebula taken down here by Spider-Man with protection of all things. I guess closing thought, protection has really ramped up in power level since I started the challenge, with the addition of just a bunch of top-notch individual cards, which is what I really think aggression needs, something similar to that to start competing. But like Spider Bite being a free ally is crazy. Ready for a Fight's, of course, instrumental the whole game. Hidden Base, exceptionally strong. Change of Fortune is a little bit older, but very, very strong. Rogue, Rogue does a lot of thwarting and protection, which is kind of the best thing. Patriot, this wasn't the biggest showcase game for Patriot, but Patriot's very strong as well. You can imagine a game where he's blocking a lot more attacks for us as we get those lackeys into play. But yeah, very, very solid showing by protection here and by Spider-Man. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.